I now go and present little bit on how DC-DC converters work and a few fundamental, few topologies of DC-DC converter. There are three fundamental topologies of DC-DC converter are there, and all these three are non-isolated, means input and output here there is no isolation. So these three are buck converter, boost converter, and buck boost converter. Those who have studied power electronics as any specialization, they must be knowing all these things. It's very common. But what I wanted to point out over here, my first slide on the power electronic elements, basic elements, if you remember, I mentioned about we have resistor, capacitor, inductor, and switch, out of which we do not like resistor. So we are left with inductor, capacitor, and switch. Now, if you look at these three buck converters, it is nothing but positioning of this inductor, capacitor, and switch in 3-4 different ways. So as you can see in the buck converter, there is switch in the input, there is inductor and capacitor at the output. In case of boost converter, inductor comes in the input, capacitor remains in the output, switch goes in the parallel. In a boost converter, buck boost converter, the position of switch comes in the input again, but inductor comes in the parallel, capacitor comes in parallel at the output. So it's just the positioning of this inductor and capacitor in different ways. Now, if you can understand this, tomorrow probably you can yourself find out a new converter by repositioning of this inductor and capacitor in a different way. And again, all analysis of all these converters are dictated by those few fundamental equations. V is equal to L di dt, C dV dt is equal to I, and for the switch, it is duty cycle D. In case of buck converter, by that analysis, if we complete the analysis of the converter, you will see output voltage is equal to D into input voltage. And D is the duty cycle, which is always less than 1. So that means output voltage will always be less than input voltage. That's why it is called buck converter. In case of boost converter, the equation is output voltage is equal to V in, that is input voltage, divided by 1 minus D. And because it is divided by 1 minus D and D is always less than 1, you will get amplified voltage at the output. In case of buck boost converter, the equation is V naught, means V output, is equal to V in into D by 1 minus D. Additionally, there is a polarity reversal which happens in buck boost converter. Means output voltage is negative of the input voltage. So these are the three fundamental equations for three fundamental DC-DC converter topologies. In actual application, actual circuits, very rarely this type of non-isolated fundamental topologies are used. In most of the application, you need some kind of an isolation. And that is where comes all the derived topologies. And all the different types of DC-DC converter topologies you hear about, they have their root to the fundamental topologies somehow. And with that, I can talk about the flyback converter, half bridge converter, full bridge converter, all of half bridge converter and full bridge converter, forward converter, phase modulated converter, all of them are derived from the buck converter. Flyback converter is a derived topology from buck boost converter topology. Means their equations and analysis will be same as the buck boost converter topology. I'll not go into too much of detail in these things. If you have some interest or questions, you can ask later. But in the interest of time, I move forward to the inverters. Inverter, as I said, it converts DC to AC. And there can be single phase inverter, there can be three phase inverter, there can be multi-level inverter. Now, multi-level, I'm just mentioning few names. We don't have time to talk about all these things in detail, but just be familiar with the names. Multi-level inverter is an inverter which has got different voltage levels, and it's definitely much more complicated than the probably the picture whatever we have shown over here. But this is the most fundamental and simplest inverter circuit which I have shown over here, which has got four switches and again inductor and capacitor. And you can see again all these converters are nothing but positioning of switch and one inductor, one capacitor. In case of inverters, one of the major application of the inverter is to generate sinusoidal waveform at the output AC. The sinusoidal PWM techniques are used to control the inverters. Space vector modulation is another technique which is used for controlling the inverters. And there can be inverter with fixed frequency at the output or variable voltage and variable frequency at the output. So these are the common terminologies and the names you will hear in application of these inverters. I just wanted to mention those things here briefly. Coming to the rectifiers, and which appears to be one of the simplest one, but not really so. There can be 6-pulse rectifier, which is something which most commonly you will see everywhere. But then there are 12-pulse rectifier, 18-pulse rectifier, even 24-pulse, or even higher number of pulses rectifier used in applications. Very, very commonly used in many applications. So I'll give a very brief idea about what is the 6-pulse, 12-pulse, and how it matters. This is a 6-pulse rectifier, which converts a 3-phase input to a DC. There are 12 diodes you can see over here. So 6 into 2 is the number of diodes, is the 12 diodes. And when you rectify a 3-phase, you see a waveform like this. In the right hand side, what you will see, the green color is the output voltage or DC voltage generated by the 6-pulse rectifier. You can see there is a substantial amount of ripple. It is going up and down. Now, how to reduce the ripple? To reduce the ripple only, we move from 6-pulse rectification to 12 pulse. Further reduction of ripple will go to 18 pulse, 24 pulse. So that's the purpose. This is an example of a 12 pulse rectification. And you see the complications. The 12 pulse rectification, now the number of diodes is how much? It is 12. So okay, I made a mistake. The previous one, as I said, 6 pulse, 6 diodes, 12 pulse, 12 diodes. And output voltage you can see over here is much more tighter, much less ripple compared to the 6-pulse rectification. So in this same manner, as you increase the number of diodes, and it also comes with number of quite more complications with about the transformers, you increase the number of pulses, the ripple at the output will be reducing. So whole purpose is to reduce the ripple at the output, and for that we have different topologies of 18 pulse, 24 pulse, and things like that. But all these rectifiers are unidirectional. If we want to have a bidirectional rectification, then comes this complicated rectification you can see, which is not only with diode, which also includes IGBTs, and that is what is also called as active front end. Now, this you can see is nothing but like an inverter connected in opposite direction in the input side. I will not again go to detail of functioning of this, but just be familiar with a rectification technique which is called active front end rectification. And if you have a active front-end rectification like this, it can also handle bidirectional power flow. And that bidirectional power flow is very useful in many applications. So with this fundamental refresher discussion of power electronic converters, switches, basic elements, I move to the application of power electronics. So the four major areas of application of power electronics today I see as number one, telecom. For many decades together, power electronics is heavily applied into telecom. Then utility power, industrial automation and control, and finally the transportation. In telecom, all the DC power supplies, and they are called as power plants in the for the telecom power supplies into the telephones and all. Uh, very commonly used DC-DC converters, AC to DC converters for supplying the power to the batteries as well as supplying power to the all the loads. Utility power, high voltage DC transmission, uh, volt ampere reactive compensation, which is nothing but the capacitors. It's a active capacitor, the power factor correction, and excitation system for the generators. Very heavily used power electronics. In industrial automation, heating, ventilation, air conditioning controllers, several AC motor drives, lightings, and today you can see this LED lighting has become very popular. It's highly dependent on power electronic converters. Elevators, these are only few names in the industrial automation. In transportation, power electronics is used very heavily in aerospace, railway, and electric vehicle. I will give a brief overview of how this power electronics is applied in transportation. Three areas. So, electric aircraft. In the past 2 decades, electric aircraft are becoming much more popular than the conventional one. And Boeing 787 is probably one of the pioneers of making more electric aircraft. Airbus A320 also uh, was one of the first move towards more electric, but Boeing 787 became more electric, much more electric actually, uh, compared to Airbus A380. But what we mean by here is that traditional aircrafts were dependent heavily on pneumatic and mechanical power. Here, many of those things are converted to electrical power in in these more electric aircrafts. And just to name a few where all these power electronic converters are applied in aircraft, the main engine and the auxiliary power unit start system. The main engine is almost like 150 kilowatt converter is required to start the main engine in an electrical manner. Earlier days, it used to be done by pneumatic way, but in this A380, Boeing 787 were the first aircrafts, for passenger aircrafts where main engine is started electrically. Then generator excitation system, cabin air compressor, the compressed air, whatever you see in the cabin or get in the cabin is controlled by power converters. Auxiliary and auto transformer rectifier units. I mentioned about multi-pulse rectifier, right? It's 18 pulse, 24 pulse. This 18 pulse rectifier is very popular in aircraft and is being used for many decades. Electric taxi system, electric braking, electromechanical actuators, and LED lights. So these are the few areas where power electronics application has extensively come forward in the last I will say 2 decades. Yes, Boeing 787 I think came in 2000 Airbus A380 were introduced in 2006 or 2007. So it's just about less than 2 decades. The power electronics application into aircraft has improved or increased. Railways, starting from 1995, from or 1990s, the application of the inverter, AC inverter, has come into the railways. First introduction of AC motor drives driven railway in India was our Rajdhani Express in 1995, 95, 96, that time. And today you can see in the metros, all the metros are fully electric, and all our other locomotives, big trains also are becoming fully electric. And not only electric, the drive uh, inside the train or the engine is becoming AC drives, which is fully controlled by power electronic circuits. So what are the applications? Electric traction drive, regenerative braking, braking also done in an electric manner. So you don't have the bushes, mechanical bushes, which is subject to wear and tear. Then auxiliary power system, which also called as hotel load converter, because it's applied. Actually, it controls the AC in the passenger area. So it's like a hotel. So that's why it's hotel load converter. Also, is a very common name in railways. Battery chargers, the huge batteries are carried by the trains. Coming to electric vehicle, which is probably the most upcoming area for application of power electronics. The four areas of application are BLDC motor drive, which is the main engine now for electric vehicles. DC-DC converter these are the four major electric components in the powertrain of electric vehicle. So the main motor drive, which is a brushless DC motor drive, DC-DC converter, and the battery chargers, and also battery monitoring system, which is less of a power electronics but more of a normal electronics, low power electronics, low voltage electronics. But there is also a small amount of power electronics in battery monitoring system. These are the four major areas of electric vehicle where the technology fully is controlled by power electronic converters. So here are a few pictures about how this battery charger, brushless DC motor controller look like, which goes into vehicle. In India, the three-wheeler and two-wheeler segment is going to see a big boost with electric vehicle coming into the market in the next 1 decade, guaranteed. And the application of this power electronics also will mature. The converters will mature very, very well in these areas. Four-wheeler application also is becoming very popular in the Europe and America. In India, I expect it starts gaining the popularity after the trials of two-wheeler and three-wheeler. So with this, my last message to people like you, young generation, where do you work if you want to be a power electronic specialist? This is just a few names. General Electric, Airbus, Honeywell. Honeywell has got both aero application as well as commercial application. Alstom for railways, Rolls-Royce for aircraft engines and aircraft electronic circuits. In the electric vehicle area in India, Lucas TVS, Greaves Cotton, Bajaj, Ather, and Ujman Technologies is a company which produces all the electrical components for supporting the electric vehicles. So this is all I had to say.